Hi everyone, my name is Lisa, owner and creator of Gypsy Woman Charm, and today we're going to be doing 3 quick and easy flips. So if this is something that you're interested in, please subscribe and hit the bell so that you're notified with every video I have. So let's get started. Project 1. So this is a cute leather Victorian baby shoe that I've had for a while and haven't had any luck with it selling. So I thought, well, let's do a little flip of it. So I'm taking some milk paint, some Fusion milk paint in the color Toasted Coconut. This is a great color. It's like an ecru. So you do equal parts powder to equal parts water. And then I'm going to use my handy dandy fork that I always use to stir up my milk paint. And I like to have it kind of thick and clumpy, but on this one I need it smooth. So I'm really stirring it really well, and then I'm going to let it sit for about 15 minutes or so. Now that it's set for a while and has gotten really thicker, I am just going to paint the whole shoe. I'm just going to do one coat, and it goes on really good. I want it just to be cracky. I want it to crack along with that leather and just make it look old and vintage, but give it just a really clean look.
Watching the stars and the city lights. Right from the start, said we never grow apart, dear Wichita.
So somehow I have lost the section of my video where I am applying transfers to the boot, but I took the IOD Seraphite and Botanicals transfer, and I just took a little pieces of the floral I cut out, and I put some on the toe and some on either side of the boot, and it turns out really good, which you'll see in this next section.
Surrounded by colors, it's such a sight. Watching all the lovers fall into the night.
So you'll see here where I put on the transfers, and I think it looks really cute. I really like it. And now I'm just doing a top coat of the Sweet Pickins top coat in the matte. That's my go-to. I love this top coat. It's easy to apply, and it always looks great. Now I want to put a bird's nest inside the shoe. Like the shoe was sitting outside and a bird's come along and decided, hey, that's a good spot for a nest. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking some green straw and I'm just making it into a nest shape, and I'm using hot glue. And then I'm just going to use hot glue and put it on the top of the boot. As you can see, I've stuffed the boot with tissue paper. That helps keep the shape of the boot itself, plus it helps the nest to stay where it needs to be. And I'm taking some moss and putting some little moss in there, because you know birds, they pick and use everything to make a nest. And then, as you can see, after I get this nest going, I trim it up, but then I also think that I want it to look like it's overflowing on one side. So I'm going to take some more of the straw and kind of add a little bit to the one side of it to make it look more natural.
Winter winter turned to spring. I remember everything from Wichita. This town is on its knees, you know God is overseas, I'm telling ya. Oh, it's more to this than.
Now I know I want to put some little eggs in the nest, and I don't know why I tried using these eggs. I know they're too big, but I thought that's what I have. So next what I'm going to do is I take the IOD Air Dry Clay and I make my own little eggs the size that I want it to be. Now I'm going to take the Fusion Mineral Paint in the color Paisley. It looks a little thick because I've had that for a while, this little tester, but it still works. So I'm just going to paint each little egg this Paisley color. And then after that dries, I take the Fusion Mineral Paint in Ash, and I just put a little bit on a brush, and I flick it right onto the eggs to make it speckled, so it looks like real bird eggs. And as I do each egg, you'll notice that I set them on the top of a toothpick and then set the toothpick into some floral foam. This way I can get all around the egg, so I'm making sure that I've got full coverage, and it's able to dry very well without, touching the paint to make marks on it. So it just comes out to be a very smooth finish.
What you see, you know this town's got the best of me. Are we sure it's the last time? Sure that this is the last time. Oh, we were down by the river all through the night, watching the stars and the city lights.
So now I'm going to take the eggs, take them off of the toothpicks, and I'm going to set them in and kind of see how I want to arrange them. And then I will take and put some hot glue just to make sure they're on there permanently. I just think they turned out so cute.
Now the moon's in a heartbeat. We're going back where it all began. The same ground under our feet. Starts to shake with you all we can. But we're caught in a landslide. So we stay up to the morning light.
Project 2. So here I have, it's just a piece of chunky wood that I had, and I want to turn it into a shelf sitter. So it's got, I'm not sure what this paint is that's on it before, but I'm taking the Fusion Alchemy paint in Willow. And I've had this paint for a while, this color, and I wasn't real sure what to do with it. And I was like, you know what? I think it would look really good on this shelf sitter. So I'm taking, and I end up putting 2 coats, and then I'm letting it, I take my heat gun and dry it in between each coat.
Always on a high, you were always on my mind, dear Wichita. The tales we were told swore they'd never grow old here in Wichita. turn to spring, I remember everything from Wichita. This town is on its knees, you know God is overseas, I'm telling ya. Oh, it's more to this than what you see. You know this town's got the best of me. Are we sure it's the last time? Sure that this is the last time.
Now it's fully dry, and so I'm going to take my finger sander, which I love, and it's a go-to for me, and I'm just going to distress it on the edges and the corners, and I do a little bit in the middle, just anywhere I think that if it was thrown around or used a lot, that it would naturally have natural wear on these spots.
Starts to shake with you all weekend, but we're caught in a landslide, so we stay up to the morning light.
Now remember, you always want to wipe it off and make sure there's no dust or residue on it, because we're going to be putting transfers on it and it won't stick. Now I'm bringing out the IOD St. Germain transfer packet, which I absolutely love. And we're going to do a two-sided shelf sitter here. So on one side, I'm going to use these roses, but I don't want to use the whole thing. So as you know, I like to cut up the transfers and do my own thing with it. So that's what I'm going to do again. I want it to look like just a cluster of roses. And I'm even going to, I think I'm going to apply them actually upside down from what they are in the booklet. But so I'm just taking off the little extra part, and then I'm going to apply just the rose part.
Always on a high, you were always on my mind, dear Wichita. The tales we were told would never grow old here in Wichita. We were down by the river all through the night, watching the stars and the city lights. Right from the start, said we never grow apart, dear Wichita. You wanted me to know, never ever let you go, dear Wichita. Surrounded by colors, it's such a sight, watching all the lovers fall into the night. All the moods in a heartbeat, we're going back where it all began. The same ground under our feet, starts to shake with you all weekend. Winter turned to spring, I remember everything from Wichita. This town is on its knees.
And remember, you always want to burnish your transfer so that you can be sure that it's applied very well on whatever project you're putting it on. So now I decided I'm going to take the butterfly from the St. Germain transfers, and I'm going to apply a butterfly right there in the corner.
You know God is overseas, I'm telling ya. Oh, it's more to this than what you see. You know this town's got the best of me. Are we sure it's the
Pretty that side is. So now we're going to flip it over and do another transfer on the other side, and this time I'm going with some Still the Saint Germain, the IOD Saint Germain, but I'm going with the smaller flowers, and it's in a curve. So I'm going to put one set on one corner, and then I'm going to mirror it on the bottom corner. And then we're going to take and put a bird in the middle.
last time. Sure that this is the last time. Oh, we were down by the river all through the night, watching the stars and the city light. And all the moods in the heartbeat. We're going back where it all began. The same ground under our feet. Starts to shake we do all we can, but we're caught in a landslide. So we stay up to the morning.
So now I'm going to take a bird transfer from the IOD Menagerie Transfer set, and I picked the one that has the orange on the throat, and I'm not sure what kind of bird this is, but I just know it's pretty. So, and I thought it looked really well with the willow paint in the background. This just proves that you can use 2 different transfers on one project. So I look at it and I think it needs something extra. So I take some jute but the jute looks too new. So I take a wet wipe and put some brown wax onto the wet wipe and then just run the jute through it, just to give the jute some age.
Always on a high, you were always on my mind, dear Wichita. The days we were talking.
Now I'm just going to take the jute and wrap it around the top, and I'm going to end up tying a little bow on either side. So you have a bow on each of the side, whichever side you decide to choose. And this works out great because you can either put it in a spot as a shelf sitter where you can see both sides, or you can put it in a spot and decide that one day you want to see the butterfly and the next day you want to see the bird. It just depends on what your mood is for the day. So I thought it turned out super cute. And before I put the jute on it, I did top coat it with the Sweet Pickins Top Coat and Matte. Project 3. So I thrifted these 2 old wood candlesticks. They have seen better days, so I decided that I was going to take the leftover milk paint that I had from the little boot, and I was going to apply milk paint to it. You know, I never try to waste the milk paint. If I have some left over, it gets used on another project.
You see, you know this town's got the best of me. Are we sure it's the last time? Sure that this is the last time. Oh, we were down by the river all through the night, watching the stars and the city light. And all the moods in the heartbeat. We're going back where it all began. The same ground under our feet. Starts to shake we do all we can, but we're caught in a landslide.
And I do end up putting 2 coats of the milk paint. So I take my 220 on my finger sander and I distress it, and I get off any of the crackle that's coming up. I get it to come off just to age it and make it look distressed and bring through that natural wood color.
Always on a high, you were always on my mind, dear Wichita. The tales we were told would never grow old here in Wichita. We were down by the river.
Now I'm going to take a wet wipe and wipe off any of the milk paint dust. So I want to tone down that dark wood a little bit. So I take the DIY white wax and I just rub it all over both of the candlesticks. I rub it on and then I rub it off. And then I'm going to go back over it with the clear wax just to give it a little bit more protection.
All through the night, watching the stars and the city lights. Right from the start, said we never grow apart, dear Wichita. You wanted me to know, never ever let you go, dear Wichita. Surrounded by colors, it's such a sight. Watching all the lovers fall into the night. All the moods in a heartbeat. We're going back where it all began. The same ground under our feet. Starts to shake with you all we can. Winter turned to spring. I remember everything from Wichita. This town is on its knees, you know, guidance overseas, I'm telling ya. Oh, it's more to this than what you see. You know this town's got the best of me. Are we sure it's the last time? Sure that this is the last time. Oh, we were down by the river all through the night, watching the stars and the city lights. And all the moods in the heartbeat. We're going back where it all began. The same ground under our feet. Starts to shake with you all we can. But we're caught in a landslide. So we stay up to the morning light.
At the end, I decided to take a little bit of sari ribbon and tie it on each one, and they turned out so cute. Put a couple of tapers in there. Now I also did a 4th project, but for some reason I lost all the film. I don't know if I just failed to record it or what, but this is a cute little birdhouse, and I used the Fusion Mineral Paint in Paisley. I hope you enjoyed the video today, and I hope you loved all the content. All the products that I used will be in the description box, and please visit me at gypsywomancharm.net. I hope y'all have a blessed rest of the day.